think it may be a little unfair, Mitch, to try to make comparisons and put him maybe in a category like a Kevin Durant? That's a heck of a lot of pressure to put on a young guy so early.
It's obviously it's unfair. I could see why people would make the comparison. I think they're both, gifted players. If you looked at Kevin in college as a freshman, the similarities are striking in terms of size and body build and body type. But beyond that, Brandon has a long way to go. He's got a lot of work in front of him. Having said that, we're ecstatic to have him. He visited with us about 10 days ago, worked out in this gym. We had a couple of dinners with him and got to know him. So we're pleased. We're excited about having him in Los Angeles. And we're hopeful that we can get him here in a week, introduce him to you people, and get him to participate in Summer League.
Mitch, was there much tension in your guys' war room over this, or did you look seriously at doing anything else with the pick?
As you might imagine, there was a lot of interest in the number 2 pick, and much was made about a so-called cliff, between 1 and 2, and then a drop. Not always the case. There's a lot of good players, in this draft in particular. If you looked at the top 10 players, it's a very, very talented group. Brandon was the one that came in and visited. We didn't know for sure until 10 minutes ago that Brandon would be available at number 2. So up until 10 minutes ago, there was just a little bit of anticipation, although this is what we expected.
Mitch, what did Brandon show you in the workouts and in the dinners?
Well, the workouts, were against nobody other than what we call a one-on-one workout. We had our assistant coaches, some of which are young enough to still play, so they participated in the workout and provided, a little bit of 2-on-2 kind of atmosphere. But his skill level, his length, his athleticism, we do a lot, more than just play. With a lot of individual skills, ball handling up and down, running, shooting the ball. You can only see so much in 1-on-1, 2-on-2 against your assistant coaches. We also do a battery of, physical testing, 8 to 10, different tests, designed to establish and, quickness, foot speed, jumping, things that you might imagine might be important on the basketball court. The dinner that we had 2 dinners. The first dinner was much more formal because it's the first time we met him, but the second dinner, actually 5 or 6 of our young players, showed up, somewhat unannounced. We mentioned to them at this building that we were going to have dinner that evening, and if they were free to come by and join us. And Julius, D'Angelo, Jordan, Anthony Brown, and Larry Nance all showed up for dinner, and they all sat around Brandon, and the older people moved down to the other side of the room, and the younger people kind of hung out together, and it looked like they all got along well, so that was good.
Mitch, presumably the roster is going to undergo more changes as the summer goes on, but what as you see it kind of coming together with the young core, what do you see from this unit of Brandon, D'Angelo? What are you expecting?
We're excited. I think, despite the fact that we're losing an icon that's been with us for 20 years, this is a new chapter going forward. We're going to miss Kobe to no end, and even I still look back on it. It's hard for me to imagine that he's not going to be on our roster and not on our board in my office. Now, having said that, we have to move on, and we have a new coach. We're moving into a new facility about 2 blocks from here. That's going to make this facility look, tiny. It's going to be state of the art. Our coaching staff, our younger players, all of which got considerable experience last year. So, Brandon, needs to work, needs to get stronger, needs to show progress, as quick as possible. But I think the other players are ahead of schedule.
Is there one thing about him that pleases you the most?
I wouldn't say there's one thing. I guess if I had to pick one thing, it would be potential. Now, we're not picking a player that hasn't played much and kind of came off the bench, and you're kind of trying to project what he may turn into. We're picking a player that played at some might say, a very established college basketball program. And you know, he played big minutes. You know, he started in an excellent league with excellent competition. So in that regard, you know, there's been a lot that's already been proven. But we look at him and his age and his body type, you know, his willingness to work and be coached. You know, so we think the upside and the potential in him, you know, right now that there is no ceiling on him. But to date, he's had a pretty good career and a pretty good conference for a one-year player.
You said you had a lot of calls with interest in that number 2 pick. Was that just not interesting to you? Was the potential that you just described too much to part of the pick?
Well, obviously, there's nothing, you know, that piqued our interest. But although, you know, this time of year, teams are serious. You know, they recognize that the second pick is valuable. Hopefully, we're not in this position again, and we recognize that the pick is valuable. The third pick is valuable. The fourth pick is valuable. You know, as you work your way down, they get less and less valuable. But clearly, at the top, you know, these picks have a lot of value. So, yeah, we listened. Yeah, there were a lot of calls, and there's nothing there that made sense for us to even consider.
Last question, Bill. Mitch,
Yeah.
even if you had the number 1 pick, was this your guy?
It's hard to say because we did not get the other player to come in and work out for us. That's something that we tried to do, and our feeling is that there may have been a commitment, so that would have been a nice thing for us to do, which would be to get him in here, to work him out, you know, to interview him, go to dinner with him twice, and get some reassurance as to what direction we wanted to go. Going into it, based on what we felt we'd be very lucky to get Brandon into this city and onto this organization.
Thanks, guys.